Last winter, my friends and I got together for a trip to a ski resort. I'd just gotten my driver's license that year, and it was a rental car. Naturally, the drive was painfully slow, despite my friends' complaints. We started out around noontime, and it was dark before we got to the place. We were going up a hill, and along the way we saw a girl standing next to the road. We joked around, saying that she probably got in a fight with her boyfriend. As we got closer, though, we had to stop talking. Her face was all bloody. I slowed down, thinking she might have gotten into an accident and needed help. Then my friend who was sitting on the passenger seat whispered, "Dude, I don't see her legs." I didn't either. On top of that, now that we were close enough to see some details, I could see she was smiling. I sped up. We were all spooked by what we saw. I looked at the side mirror to see if she was still there, but saw nothing. She was gone. Then I realized the car was starting to smell like a perfume. The thing is, we're all guys, and none of us wore cologne. We drove the rest of the way in silence. No one said anything about that smell, but I'm sure we were all thinking the same thing. That perfume smell was probably that girl from earlier. Grandfather had just passed away. I was in school when I got the call from Dad. Mom and Dad picked me up in a bit, and we were on our way to the hospital my grandfather was in. The driver ahead of us must have been dozing off. Dad tried to pass it by, but it swerved onto the side and hit us on the side of the bumper. Luckily, it didn't turn up too serious. Both the cars pulled over to the side. The other driver was a young woman. I figured she dozed off because she had an exhausted look on her face. Probably had a long drive. Another person, a man, was still fast asleep in her passenger seat despite all the ruckus. Normally my dad would have gotten pretty pissed about it, but we were in a hurry, so the driver and Dad just exchanged phone numbers and insurance information, and we were back on our way to the hospital. Good thing it wasn't too serious. Why don't they switch drivers? She looked like she was about to pass out, I told Dad. Dad looked at me, confused. What are you talking about? She was alone in that car. Mom said the same thing. So did my sister. They looked at me as if I was talking nonsense. I didn't bring it up anymore, the situation being what it was. After all these years, though, I still wonder who that man was, and how come nobody else saw him. My girlfriend and I went through a long-distance relationship for about 2 years. It took about 4 hours of driving to see her, so I used to go visit her on the weekends and holidays to go out on dates. It was the end of the New Year weekend. After I drove my girlfriend home, I decided to detour around the highway on my way back home. There was just way too much traffic. The local road I've detoured onto was pretty empty. It was about midnight and the road didn't have much streetlights. I couldn't stand the dark and silence, so I turned the music up loud and lit up a cigarette. I must have drove on that road for quite some time. I looked for a highway entrance, thinking it was about time to get back on it. I finally found the highway road sign, plus something else. I swear, a little girl was sitting on top of the road sign panel, legs dangling as if you would on a playground swing. I could see her more clearly as I got closer to the road sign. It was a normal looking kid, with the long brown hair, wearing a yellow sweater and jeans. I pulled over and called out to her. As soon as I did, the girl turned around and began dangling on the sign by her legs, sort of like what kids do on the playground, pull-up bars. I was worried about the kid, but didn't want to stay there too long. It was dark, with no other people around. I called the police and told them that there was a kid out here alone. They said an officer should be there in a few minutes, so I got back on my car to get back on the road. I did what I could, and didn't have any other reason to stay. So I began driving. I looked at the little girl one last time before I passed the road sign. Then the strangest thing happened. The little girl's hair grew instantly and covered my windshield and all other windows. I couldn't see anything, so I panicked. I think I stepped on the gas instead of the brake. My car hit something hard. I don't remember anything after the impact. When I woke up, I was in an emergency room. Apparently my car crashed onto the guardrail at the highway entrance. The police officer I've called for before got to the area momentarily, saw my car crashed on the side, and called for an ambulance. Fortunately, I wasn't hurt so badly. I got out of the hospital with some bruises and a minor concussion. My car was totaled though, so I ended up scrapping it. The police asked me about the circumstances of the accident. I told them the headlight went out that moment, and I couldn't see anything. I wasn't gonna tell them what I really saw. I didn't need to stay in the hospital longer for a psych evaluation. I did ask about the little girl I saw that night. The officer said he didn't see anybody around the area.